Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. A lot of people are worried about what's going to happen when iTunes goes away. Let me explain. MacMost is brought to you by a community of supporters. Join us and get exclusive content at MacMost.com/Patreon. So when macOS Catalina comes out, it's not going to have iTunes anymore. So what will it have and what will happen to all your stuff, right? You've got music, you've got stuff you've bought, you've got movies. Well, it's pretty simple. What's going to happen is instead of the iTunes app, we're going to have 3 separate apps. Music, podcasts, and TV. And these will take over most of the functionality of the old iTunes app. Now if you just use iTunes for music, like music you've ripped from CDs, purchased from iTunes, bought from other sources, and imported in, then you could think of it just like this, that the app is simply changing its name from iTunes to Music. You'll find all the functionality you need in the new Music app. Now all the purchases that you made before and all of the music content you've got is going to just automatically go into the Music app. So when you upgrade to Catalina, you run Music and all your stuff will just be there. It's actually not going to go anywhere. It'll still be stored in the same library, in the same place on your Mac. It'll just be a new app that accesses that library. And yes, your playlist will be there too. It should be a pretty seamless transition. So what about moving forward? Well, you'll be able to do the same thing with the Music app, ripping songs, importing ones from other sources, and there'll be the ability to purchase new ones. Matter of fact, you're going to be able to purchase them from the iTunes Store. That's right, the name iTunes isn't completely going away. There'll be an iTunes Music Store inside of the Music app. So what about your podcasts? Some of us use iTunes just for podcasts or a combination of music and podcasts. All the podcast stuff is going to go to the Podcasts app. We've had the Podcast app on iOS for a while as well. The screens look very similar. You'll be able to follow your podcast and everything that you've got going on now, all your subscriptions will just carry over in the new app. Now not a lot of people are talking about what's going to go on with the new TV app. It's going to take over the TV and movie sections of iTunes, sure. So anything you've purchased, anything you may have rented, that's going to appear in the TV app. But the TV app is also going to look a lot like the TV app on Apple TV and on iOS, which is great because it means all the new stuff Apple's doing for TV we're going to get on the Mac as well. Another aspect of iTunes is audiobooks. But there's already a Books app, and the Books app is simply going to continue to take over the audiobooks functions. So anything you've purchased in the past and future purchases you'll make, you'll use simply with the Books app. So the Books app will do both ebooks and audiobooks. So the transition should be really seamless. When you upgrade to Catalina, it should all happen automatically. Matter of fact, there's not really anything to happen. Your libraries and everything are going to stay in place. It's just that the new apps will access things instead of iTunes. Now a lot of people have been asking me, should I be backing up my iTunes stuff? And the answer is of course yes, you should always back up everything. You should of course have regular backups, and before updating your operating system you're going to make sure your backups are intact, maybe even make an extra one anyway. But there's no reason to think going from one app, iTunes, to 3 apps, music, podcasts, and TV, is going to make any real difference with the actual data on your drive. So a big problem is a lot of people are saying iTunes is dead. But it's really just this app named iTunes on the Mac. The iTunes Store certainly is still going to be there, even called that. So of course that means your gift cards that say iTunes on them, they're still going to be perfectly valid for purchases. You already can use those iTunes cards for things like purchasing apps and things that aren't called iTunes. But wait, iTunes does more than just play music, podcasts, and video. You can also do things like sync your iOS devices. Now a lot of us have moved on to doing syncing completely with iCloud. It's by far a better way to do things. It all happens automatically and wirelessly, and you don't have to connect your device and manually sync. But if you still want to use that old method, you can. That will be moving to the Finder. And here you see what it looks like. Basically the screens look identical to how they did in iTunes, but now you simply find it by selecting your device in the left sidebar in the Finder when you have it connected, and then you could sync all the various categories just as before. It looks like we have complete syncing functionality carrying over into Catalina, just going to be in the Finder instead of in iTunes. So what about ringtones? Well, I don't quite have a great answer for you on this yet because it's not clear how that's going to work. Now with Mojave we already lost the ability to sync ringtones, which simply means select from a list which ringtones we want and sync every time we connect. But you could add ringtones from your Mac to your iPhone very easily. And I expect that to continue in Catalina. It's just a little unclear how that's going to work step by step. And there are other ways to add ringtones to your iPhone as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how this is going to work out. Now there is one place where you'll still be able to find an iTunes app, and that will be on Windows. The iTunes app on Windows allows users to manage their iOS devices using a Windows machine, and for the time being Apple's going to keep that app alive. So what do you need to do? Well, right now you don't need to do anything. Catalina is in early testing for developers only. It'll be in public beta in July, and I don't expect it to be released until September at the earliest. So if there's anything you need to do before you update, we'll know before then. But most likely there's nothing you need to do at all. You run the update, everything will happen automatically, and you'll see your music in the music app, your podcast in the podcast app, and your TV and video content in the TV app. I publish new tutorials every weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little bell icon to get notifications for each new tutorial.